whirlwind, and the players are rocking and rolling already. As we see spawning down here in the bottom right-hand corner, the red Zerg up 1-0. His name is Byul. Oh, I see. A little reversal. Going for the zoom out on the intro. I like it.
You're gonna switch things up, man, to keep it spicy.
Up in the top left, the blue Protoss player who needs to make something happen, and I gotta say I feel bad for him given these map positions. It is Arthur. I think cross spawn whirlwind is very difficult to play PvZ. I think there's a gamut of Zerg playstyles that work well here. Muta is applicable. We've seen speedling only builds work out here. What do you think, Kev?
It is difficult, but it's not the end of the world. If you want to play 2-base, it's indeed a lot better to have close spawning positions, but Arthur didn't really seem like he wants to play 2-base, at least not in the last map, unless he just completely switched everything up. I think he finds something to work with. This is a reasonably early forge, not super early, but against his hatch first opening from Byul, we might actually see Arthur be like, hey, perhaps there's still something I can do with this. And perhaps he took a look at the build or the match history as well, and he's like, okay, hatchery, another hatchery. I didn't know. No wonder you had so many units. No wonder you were that safe all the time. Byul's not going to do it this time though, when this probe is already in space. I'd be very surprised. We see the spawning pool going down, but we might just see pylon, cannon, man, and I wouldn't judge it.
Will he go Nexus? He's going to go Nexus. He has gone Nexus. So if he does any crazy cannon stuff, it's going to be too late, I feel, but we'll see if he tries. He might try to fake it.
Yeah, I think a fake would not be a bad idea. I mean, there's already 2 drones not mining right now, so that's something he already accomplishes with this.
And Byul being so safe, he had that drone pulled behind the mineral line just to make sure. And
but at least this is already a much better position to play from for Arthur. He sees everything from start to finish. This time Byul is the one freaking out a little bit, Byul being in the dark, not really knowing what his opponent is doing. I also like this gateway before cannon. Seem like small things, guys, but actually that saves yourself a lot of seconds. He knows he doesn't need a cannon all that early because he saw the spawning pool timing, etc., etc. So he can cut that cannon for now. He might still want to get it later, but the quicker gate means the quicker cyber core. So far I really like what Arthur is doing.
This game should end up looking I guess a little bit more standard. It might be the way to describe it. Gateway expands are... Ooh, there's another fast third base. Gateway expands are definitely becoming more of the norm, but I think most players feel more comfortable, most Zerg players at least feel more comfortable against the forge opening, just because that's what Protoss players have been doing for probably 2.5 of the 3 years we've had StarCraft 2.
I must say I'm a little bit surprised that Arthur didn't see that drone heading out, or didn't see that hatchery going down. We still see that gas being very early by Byul, or at least for the way that he opens. This is not like a 5 minute and 30-second gas. He still gets the gas relatively quick, just in case he has to deal with crazy 2-base pressure or anything like that. But Archie doesn't know yet about this third hatchery. He might suspect it's there, but he hasn't seen it.
Hasn't scouted it. Byul's done a good job of keeping that probe honest, or at least maintaining his awareness of that probe. There we see the cybernetics core finishing up for Arthur. And what will his mid-game consist of? He went Phoenixes last time. The Phoenix is on Frost. And a lot of Protoss players will probably tell you, hey, I like to open Phoenix because it keeps me safe against the Muta. We see Stargate going down once again, and I'm wondering if that's probably what's in the back of Arthur's mind.
Yeah, perhaps he's one of those guys that just absolutely hates playing against Mutalisk or in any phase of the game. And, I am a believer of that as well, but I also feel that if Zerg reacts properly to the Phoenixes, it's going to put Zerg always in a pretty comfortable position. Perhaps not necessarily ahead. Well, we see a couple of Zerglings trying to engage the Zealot in the middle of the map. Cute micro by Arthur, but it will fall.
Cute micro by both those players. Byul getting that big surround. Does take out the Zealot at the cost of only a few lings. See some gateways going down behind the Stargate. Not enough to cause panic yet. Well, a third one changes things.
Maybe a good old
4-gate pressure with Phoenixes?
Yeah, maybe with a +1. In the old days we had the Void Race with the +1 Zealot. That was oh, actually a couple of links are gonna run by. This is great for Byul. This little ling right here, this is going to be a hero ling, as he's going to spot the Stargate, spot all those 3 gates. Wow, what a beautiful scout here by Byul. Plop. There's a Zergling in my base.
The choice to run up that ramp, I almost don't even understand it, but Byul, he rolled the dice and he walked right in, and now he gets a great scout for his efforts. Knows exactly what he's playing against. We see Zergling speed on the way, we see a Roach Warren going down. He has the ability to create whatever units he might need to defend this. He might not have to, though, as Arthur's having a damn hard time getting any probes across the map.
He's gonna have have to deal with this little Ling. That would be quite something if this Ling would be able to unpower all those gates and the Stargate. Then it would truly be a hero Ling. That's a pretty quick robo as well, but kind of the same timing as before. Like, it's not not like extremely quick, like, oh, I really want to get some Colossus out, I'm going for something crazy, Phoenix Colossus 2 base, which, you know, has been kind of falling out of fashion already. I still kind of like it, but I know a lot of Protoss players out there don't like it. Probe does drop a fire then.
Byul just barely missed seeing that probe. That Zergling was standing right where that probe is just a couple seconds ago. Oh, and another run by. How does this happen? And this is catastrophic, because even though we're going to have a pylon up on Byul's side of the map, oh, and a couple of probes going to go down as well. These gateways are going to be unpowered in the meantime. That is incredibly frustrating. Might we even see a Zealot working? I guess not.
This is really sloppy as well by Archer though. This should have not happened. We saw a couple of units run by. Like, why don't you just have a single Zealot standing there, and then the single Zealot will keep you safe. If we take a look at the harvesters right now, it's 62 drones against 41 probes. This is absolutely ridiculous.
The one thing we have to consider is Byul thinks that there's definitely not a pylon on this high ground. He scouted it and there was nothing there. And literally the next second a probe showed up and built that. So he's this is the last thing in the world that he's expecting to see. And if he makes a big round of drones with his next round of larvae, he might find himself in trouble. We'll see exactly what he chooses.
Please land the force field in time. He will land the force field, not before losing the sentry. This is just sloppy. I do feel you, Ben, but right now he's on 66. When do you want to start producing units? We see 9 roaches in production. By the time that these 3 gateways finish up, it's going to take quite a while. I just do not feel that this gateway aggression is going to be scary enough. Army supply shows us right now it's 32 against 31. Sure, 7 gateways, you might be able to do something with it. But there's plenty of crew spread. There's going to be plenty of additional units for Zerg on the way. I feel that Byul is in absolutely fantastic position, and Archer is going to need a miracle to make this work.
Now, what can these... Wow, roaches are already here. So the answer to that question is pretty much nothing. As Zealots will give chase to the Queens. Maybe they'll kill a handful of drones, but beyond that, I don't see a whole lot of damage being dealt. Just a perfect defense here from Byul. Warp Prism in the meantime going to try to make his way into the main base, and this would change things if there weren't roaches here.
Yeah, maybe with a 7 Zealot warp in or 7 something warp in, he's going to be able to keep those forces up and running quite well. No, he's just going to abandon it immediately because I guess he felt it was just going to be a waste of time, a waste of money. Archer is in such a difficult position right now. 11 minutes, he's still on 2 bases. He does research Blink, and this is +1, right?
Man, this is such a perfect example of what happens when a Zerg is able to play with perfect information.
Yep.
Because Byul hasn't done anything, you know, mind-blowing. All he's done is scout well. He got a little bit lucky with the Zergling run by, and he's been able to respond perfectly to everything that Arthur has tried to do. So now we've got a Zerg player on 3 base, taking a 4th base with a perfect economy, who's going to be able to max out on Roach Hydra, and I don't know what Arthur's going to be able to throw at it. He's basically tried everything. He's exhausted all options, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's how I feel as well, man. I even find it a little bit sad to see this, because I just don't know what Protoss can do. Maybe, yes, I would still say just try to play as defensive as possible and try to go up to 3 bases. 2 base plays is not going to work anymore. That's just, you know, that should never ever work. He does have a crazy amount of gates, but I mean, come on, it's so late. There's going to be so much pre-spread. There's going to be a ridiculous amount of roaches and hydras on the way. This army is terrible in dealing with hydras. There is nothing in this army that's good against hydralisks, other than a guardian shield.
Well, force field can help, I guess, but I don't really see it happening. Whirlwind is not a map that is friendly to force field in the first place. Unless you get into a really good position somewhere, but it's hard to find those kinds of openings. 116 supply against 171, and the production tab shows us Hydras and Hydra upgrades on the way for Byul. So Arthur will make one final push. Seeing warping in Stalkers once again. We have the Zergling run by.
And once then, they're going to work on these finance, which could be very, very frustrating. This is actually starting to look like a little bit of an intimidating army. I still feel that Byul is going to be more than fine, but at least there are quite a few Protoss units knocking on his front door. One of the pylons died already, but the other pylons are backed up with more pylons. Forcing a defensive warp in, though, that's already a victory. Yeah. And look at the amount of Hydralisk in this army. And as you mentioned as well, Ben, it's not like it's particularly easy to drop good force fields over here.
No, it's a very open engagement, and just to complicate things further, that pylon that those Lings killed supply blocked Arthur a little bit, so further stalling his attempt at a push.
Mothership core, drops
the time
warp.
kills
Half a Hydra.
Nothing, because Transfuse is absolutely ridiculously strong. And Hydra gets healed back to full health just like that. And Arthur's just going to continue warping in and hoping for the best, but he's pushing into a maxed out Zerg. And, oh, not an easy fight to win.
It's not a position he can actually attack into. There are a couple of Vipers on the way as well, so they could pull in those Immortals if he's worried about the Roaches perhaps. Or maybe pull in the Warp Prism. I actually think that would be the smartest thing to do.
Blinding Cloud also
yeah, Blinding Cloud also very useful. Basically, you know, those Vipers are going to serve their purpose no matter how you use them. Unless you just right-click them into the army. That would not be very smart. Other than that, I think they're going to be more than fine.
Yeah. Viper's probably my favorite unit. I think a lot of Zergs would agree. Looks like Byul wants to fight. He is going to yoink that Immortal. He gets killed immediately. Arthur trying to get himself into a workable... Now, this is an okay position. He's wedged himself between the army and the third base.
Blinding Cloud lands on top of the army, though.
But they're just going to walk right up that ramp, and they'll be able to force field Byul out. So they'll be able to force field Byul out. There we go. Force field does go down, and this is going to be a dead expansion. So Arthur beginning to try and make things happen. Hydra's going to pop out to their deaths. Warp Prism's still close enough by for reinforcements. And so that's a good play from Arthur. He's starting to do the right things, but man, if this works, this is like LP push 2.0.
Yes, definitely. LP's out there somewhere clapping. He's going to lose the Warp Prism though, Ben, and that is a very, very expensive loss. Hydra's coming in from all directions right now. The sentries are slowly but steady running out of energy. Another Blinding Cloud landing as well.
Oh, and another great Blinding Cloud, and these Stalkers can't even fight. They're just walking straight to their death. You know, they're trading okay. They're going to kill off a lot of Hydras, but the problem is just there's no ability to reinforce. The Warp Prism is dead. There is no pylon. There's 19 Hydras about to pop out. We see 8 Stalkers being warped in, but they're being warped in on Arthur's side of the map. Viper's also going to go down. Arthur's trying his hardest to make it interesting. But the inevitability of this situation is almost heartbreaking. We see the Hydras popping out. Viper's reloading his energy.
It was very cute army movement, like you pointed out as well, Ben. I really like how he was dancing back and forth, and then eventually somehow find himself in a position where, hey, I can actually kind of work with this. But, you know, it was all just a good 2-3 minutes too late. Byul was maxed out. Byul had 3,500 minerals in the bank. Then you can't really speak of a timing anymore. Then it's just like, I'm attacking for the sake of attacking, because if I turn this into a macro game, I just can't really make anything happen anymore.
I think Arthur might be going for the 18-minute, 30-second, 2-base Void Ray Blink Stalker timing.
It's a timing, all right.
He's gonna be making his way forward. He's gonna try once again to deny another of Arthur's third expansion. There's 180 Zerg supply against about 130 Protoss supply. This time there is a pylon with the army, so reinforcement will be possible.
A lot of Roaches on the way as well. There are no more Immortals in this army, so Roaches are going to be pretty damn useful. Going to be able to soak up a lot of shots. We shouldn't forget the upgrades either. It's +2 for Zerg against +1 for Protoss. Just everything is in Byul's favor. But, you know, he's basically still up a base as well, despite losing a base.
I think Byul would really benefit from sending some units from behind here, but I guess he doesn't care. He's so far ahead. He knows he just has to defend. He knows there's no third base for Arthur. There's a great Blinding Cloud. Don't fight in the Blinding Cloud, Byul. Oh, pulls the Warp Prism, just like we talked about previously.
Now the Roaches are in the Blinding Cloud.
How do you like that?
It's justice for all those Protoss players out there, but unfortunately...
You know, Army Supply is getting closer and closer, though. You know, if he makes this work, then
oh, the Viper! He's getting very low on health, but will not die. Gonna pull the Void Ray.
I think that's super smart, because he just picked up the Observer as well. Those are the small things that you perhaps might not notice, but now it's going to be a lot harder for Archer to actually be effective over here, because he's going to really have to peek over the ramp all the time to get vision. And you know what, Archer is like, I think it's time for a third base, because after losing my Observer, after losing the Prism, and after losing the Void Ray, I've lost everything that can look up to that ramp. And you know, before it was going to get hard, without high ground vision, it's going to be borderline impossible.
Great timing from Byul. He's like, oh, 20 minutes, I bet you're taking a third base. Sends his Roaches up, and he spots it almost immediately after it is planted. Roaches and Ling's going to run in and perhaps force a cancel. We see Stalkers frantically trying to get back, and they will get back just in the nick of time. But you know what? Now Arthur's the one that has to defend, and I don't know how the hell he's going to do it.
In this open area against all those Hydra lists, it's going to be extremely tough. He's on 150 supply on his own, though. Army supply 104 against 125. 34 Hydra list, 19 Roaches. I do like that Byul retook his fourth base. I kind of missed it. I'm not sure when he threw it down, but I guess in the moment he felt like, okay, that army's kind of stuck over here on the left side of my original fort. I'm going to retake my old turret base, and I'm going to be more than fine in doing so. There is a time warp in position, or available.
Oh, that's a phenomenal blinding cloud. Makes it so hard for this Protoss player to actually fight. Half the army unable to actually shoot, and now we see roaches and hydras walking up into the natural sentry. It's going to be picked off before it even is able to plant a single force field. You know, Arthur is doing the most, the absolute most with this army that he can do. But it's just so incredibly hard against the Zerg with this much economy. We see Byul still with 1,500 minerals and gas to spare. Good blinks, good time warps, and great efficiency here with this Protoss army, but the Cyber Core is now gone down, which means only Zealots can be warped in.
Well, that's never a good sign. Only Zealots. There's still a couple of stocks remaining though. The Mothership Core will go down once more. You know, with perfect blink control, he's going to be able to survive over here, but how many probes is he going to lose with that small little run by? But the fact that he actually survived and sort of, you know, kept his momentum, that was really impressive, because that was definitely not easy. The army of Byul was so much stronger. Archer dropped close to perfect force fields multiple times, but he's just so far behind that we can't really see the true beauty of the play that he just made.
There were 17 probes on minerals in that natural when that attack started. Now there are 3. So many probes died. It was a massacre. And enough of one that Archer's just going to tap out. Byul's going to take it 2-0 with some very impressive